Hi everybody, it's Spring with Soaps and Suds and such, and what I'm showing you today is how I like to do my jar lids if I'm making like the cocoa in a jar. You can use bigger jars. I like to use the jelly jars, and this one, when I work with the burlap, I don't bother doing the way I'm going to show you how I do with the cloth, but sometimes I do. But that one's already ready. I used burlap for that top, just like I do with my jelly jars, unless I'm doing them for Christmas. Now, for Christmas, a lot of times I like to use cloth. And you see I just give 97 cents for this cloth. And you just peel that back, and I'll show you what you got. And, of course, you have to get the paper off, which is usually a hassle, because some of it wants to stick. Okay, we've got that off. Now, what you get is a nice, pretty good sized piece of cloth here. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut some round circles. If you can see, I've took my lid. I like to go on a piece of thin cardboard, and then I just go around it. Now, I'm not perfect. I don't make it perfect, and I don't care if it is perfect. The thing is, you know, you can do it however you want to do it. I really love using crimping scissors, and I have a big old pair of crimping scissors, but I can't find them. I can't even find my wheel that has a crimper, the metal blades. So today they're just going to be cut. I've got my nice big old pair of upholstery scissors here, and I'm going to be cutting out these. Let's see, I've got this heating up because I'm going to show you how I do the lids. But first off, I guess we could cut one. And you see you've got your squares here, but I'm just going to be cutting a circle. Let me make sure you can see what I'm doing. Just going to cut out this circle, and it ain't going to be perfect by no means, because I don't care if it is perfect, just to be honest. Now, you can take and what I like to do is I like to just go around it first off. These need sharpening. And just cut me out a square. Could do it like you do when you do quilts, and just take some pins and pin her on there to make quilt squares. Okay, so I've got my piece here. Now I'm going to go around it. And I probably wish I had took me some pins and just stuck them to this, but I don't really have time, so I'm just going to do the best I can. Just bear with me on it. But you can do it a lot prettier. I mean, seriously. I used to take more pains with mine when I was younger, but the way health has been, and then time, I'm not quite as perfect with it. As long as they look good, that's what I'm after. It all comes from the heart. When you make something and you give it away, you know, you put your time, your love into it. And what we're going to be doing is these jar lids are going to be decorating some hot cocoa in the jar that I'm going to do a video on. Okay, so here's our piece, and show how I do that. Now, what I like to do using that cloth, because sometimes when you leave that out, even sometimes with the burlap, you see you don't have nothing there to support that. So I like to take, let me move that, get over here where you can see what I'm doing. I think we're hot. I like to take my jar lid, make sure that you can see me, and I just like to put some little dabs down in there. Right down in there like so. You don't take much. Just enough, you just want enough to hold your lid in place. That's basically all you're after. So you don't need a whole lot. Then I'm going to put my lid down in there. Just press it down. Now watch where you put the hot glue, because it could be hot and it could be seeped up on the sides. Like that right there and that. But I'm kind of used to heat on my hands. You don't want any of the hot glue on the inside of that jar lid. So you want to make sure you get it all out. And it usually pulls right from where it was. Now on this side it don't matter. It's not going to hurt anything. But you see that's on there. It's not coming off. Like this one will come off. That one won't. But this was stiff burlap. So stiff burlap, you usually don't have a problem. Okay, we got that. And now we just kind of figure out where we think our center's going to be. Like I just guess about it. Just to be honest with you, I don't have time to take much pains with it. Okay, and then I just put some dabs. Hot glue works just fine for this. And usually they, you know, being decorated like that, it lasts. As long as you're not putting something where you have to wash your whole lid. But then I'm just going to stick this on here like so. I'm going to pull it over a little bit. Make sure I got it stuck. Not good right there. They probably make glues that would work better for this, but I like to get off as cheap as possible, and glue sticks are not all that expensive. Because after all, you are just giving it away, you know. And then the cocoa costs quite a bit just to make. The homemade cocoa that goes in them. Okay. And be sure and catch that video if you like cocoa, because I'm going to be doing several different kinds of cocoa. And, okay, so we got that on there. Now, there are several, you know, well, I'll go ahead and show you this. First off, I go right around here, and I need to put another dab right there, because that's wanting to be ornery. I think burlap works better, just to be honest with you people. In my opinion. Then I'm just going to put a little dab around here just to hold it in place. Don't have to be perfect. Remember, it gets hot though. Hot glue gets hot, so if you've never been burnt, you might get burnt doing this. I've been burnt, so then you just peel away all these little long lines of glue that it seems to shed. Like a dog shedding hair, it just sheds them whenever it dries. Okay, I'll just take my fingers. If it's too hot for you, I know some people are more sensitive to heat than others. You could always put on like a pair of gloves. You could use a oven mitt or pot holder or something of that nature. I learned young on that, I don't know, I got used to the heat because my grandmother was one that loved to wash dishes or canning jars and stuff like that in really, well, we called it scalding hot water, so I got used to heat on my hands. But there you go, there's the way that part looks. And it's cute the way it is, but you can make it better. Like say, you could take some of this ribbon here, which if I can get it open, I'll show you. It's going to give me a fit. Let me pause you, I'll bring you right back. And also, I'll show you, you can use this, see this right here? It's real sparkly, but I don't like to because that's got glitter, loads of glitter all over it that come off. And I don't like using that on anything that you're going to be eating, because every time you take that lid off, you're at risk of it getting into your jar of food. But you see, this little tiny ribbon works really wonderful. And I just go around it. I cut it to length, however long I want it. And I'm going to hot glue it just like I did the rest of it. I'm making me a bow, so I would need probably, let's see, go around about like that, and around here and make them meet, and then hot glue them on, make me a bow. And then hot glue my bow, of course. Okay, now let me show you another thing you can do. Of course, you can get hemp. That works really well if you're using a burlap. Nice, natural. You can get one of these little flowers. You could even crochet a little flower. Okay, you can also use yarn. You could just wrap that around your lid and actually tie a bow if you wanted to. Or you could use a crochet hook to make a chain, which I'll show you how to do. I think this is a size, I'm not sure, I can't even see it. This one here, though, this is my special one. My great-grandfather made this for my great-grandmother, and he whittled that. And you can actually feel the places where he whittled it with his knife. But to do so, you can either do a chain, start your loop, like you see how I've got that. And I'm going to hold that, and then I'm going to bring this up through here. I can either put my hook in here and just pull it on my hook, like so, or I can do it this way. Bring it up through there and just pull it till I have my loop. Put in my crochet hook. Okay. Then I'm going to hold it in my hand. This is the way I hold it. Now, I don't hold my yarn the way everybody else does on most things. But I just do my own thing. And then you just grab a hold of it, pull it through. You see how that's made that little thingy-majigger right there? Let me see if I can zoom you in so you can see what I'm doing. A little bit. And I'll grab it again. I'm just going to pull it right through there. Okay, now, see what I did is I lost a little bit of my loop there. Okay, pick that back up. Now all I'm doing is making a chain. Simple chain. My hook's a little big for this yarn. I had some smaller ones. I like using this one though. Just because it's sentimental, I guess. Okay. Just go with your chain. And you could even use, you could use some different crochet hooks to make different sizes. Like say if you were doing a quart jar, I'll show you one hook you could use. A piece of thread on there that I don't want on there. But you see we're making our chain. You could measure around your jar. That would make it probably simpler for you. But me, I'm not going to. But you see, I would just measure it this way. So you see it's not long enough, so I would need to keep going. And you could use, you could use 2 or 3 different colors. What would be pretty on this is either like a white or a green, a beautiful like balsam green or evergreen green would look wonderful on it. Or a mix of green and red. Or if you could get a hold of some gold yarn, that would look really good. But remember, just making a chain, all you're doing is simply this. Whoops, sorry about that. That happens every now and then. Just taking it through. I'll go ahead and finish this. Maybe I'll use it on one of them. Who knows? But I don't claim to be no professional at crocheting, so if I'm not doing it the way you do it, no claims made here. I do it the way that I learned how to do it, and you know, that's something that I have to reteach myself every year. Whoops, there went my yarn. Due to health reasons, and usually it comes back to me once I start reteaching myself on crocheting and knitting. This year has been mainly knitting. Haven't done too much crocheting. Let's see if I've got that near enough. Oh, need a little longer. And you don't have to even tie like a bow in it. You could do like just a crossover with it, and that would look really pretty also. Whoops, there went my needle again. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, and you know, I think that's the way I'm going to do that one. So all you do when you get ready to take it off of here, and I'm moving you every which way, is just simply, I cut my thread, my yarn, where I want it, and I'm going to go through, again, I'm going to pull that through. There you go. You've got a pretty little braided look that could go right around a jar, like say this one, for instance. It's got the burlap. That might look good on that one, actually. If you wanted to do the big old pretty bow, you could have went more with it. Or you could actually, I mean, you can knit or crochet bows, or you could do more chains, different colors, and, you know, make your bow right here. But that's one way you can do it. And let me get that yarn, and I'm going to show you. Now this yarn's a little bit small. You could actually use a bigger type of yarn. Say you were using a quart jar. And you know, quart jar, your lid's still the same, but unless you're using a wide mouth. But I've got some more crochet hooks here. And this is one I don't use that often, but look, you could use that. And you could use a bigger yarn. Simply make your loop like I showed you. Go through. And, whoops, sorry about that. Wrong yarn for this. Definitely. Wrong yarn. I've got bigger yarn in there, but I don't want to go get it. But you get the gist of it. You see, if I do it with this little tiny yarn, I'm going to end up with what it does is it'll make it look not as tight, a looser looking. See here, if you can see the difference, let me show you. Okay, here's the difference. You see the difference? Quite a bit of difference. This is a lot looser than this because I'm using this little tiny yarn with this big old crochet hook. So I don't want that, so I'm not going to do that. But I just wanted to show you what you can do. You can also get the curly ribbon like goes on balloons. That works really good. You could put that around there. You could do the whole frilling it where it's all crinkly, and that would look really good. But I don't want this lid loose, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this in. I think we'll go ahead and attach this ribbon to that. So, let me get my hot glue. Just putting dabs in there. Nothing major. Now, I didn't even put it on the burlap. Didn't put it on the burlap, just on around the edge of the rim. None on the burlap. See, because I didn't want it to come through that burlap, and it will. But there you see, it's not falling out anymore. Okay, now let's see how we want this. Little ribbon. I think we're just going to do a simple little crossover here, like so. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen it up. Put me a little dab right here, like so. Bring this back over now. I'm making sure that it stays nice and straight, because I want my little braided look to stay. That's why I'm doing that. Then I'm going to come right here, put me a dab there, and that's where I'm going to put this. Watching not to get the other piece hooked yet. I'm just holding them without touching the actual hot glue. Then I'll just turn it around here, because I want to go all the way around with a little bit of glue, because I want it to hold at least through Christmas. I like for it to hold a little longer, but I may have to get that this time if it keeps ringing. Yep, it is. I'll be right back. Wouldn't you know it, telemarketers? That's about what it usually is. Okay, pulling off these excess pieces there. And I'm just going to put some over here. And I may end up using this. I think I will use this, the little bit of burlap, for Christmas, because I think it looks really neat. I love burlap. I love burlap. I love duct tape. If I'd had some duct tape last night, I'd sure put it on a paintbrush I had that my brush kept coming off. So I ended up having to use some that black tape. I can't remember what you call it. But right here, when you get in that center, what I'm going to do, now you do it however you want to do it. There ain't no wrong way to this. I just like to give people ideas of things that I do, you know, at Christmas or whenever. I do all kinds of little things that I've done for a long time. But that's the way I'm going to do it right there. You see, I'm holding that carefully. Well, I touched that hot glue, but I'm still holding this carefully where my finger's not actually touching the hot glue. And I touched that one again, but it's done cold. So, and then you're going to peel off all your pieces of hot glue that's goes here and there and everywhere. I could go around this lid, and I may do it eventually, and just trim off. Okay, we got that one. I think that looks pretty good. See here? Goes with it. Now, let's cut us a piece to do this one, and I'll show you it. I don't want to get it too long, but I don't want to get it too short. So I'm just kind of guessing. Because I like to make a bow with this. And that's probably too long, but oh well, I'm going to do it anyhow. Okay, got that cut. Now shedding that burlap shedding everywhere. Okay, now I'm going to center this. Just simply taking it like that, and I'm going to get the two ends and put them together like so. Try to get it straight. You don't have to take that many pains if you don't want to. Totally up to you. I put my little crease right there. That way I know that's my center. Okay, then I'll just turn it however I want to. I think I want that in the back, honestly. Okay, and then I'm going to take my hot glue. I'm going to put me a dab right here. And I'm going to take this center that I showed you. Right there it is. And I'm going to stick it right there. Now, if you get a little hot glue up on there, it's not hurting anything. If you don't like the way it looks, get you a knife. Simply just take and flick it off. Me, I'm not worrying about it. Now, if I was making it to sell, I might worry about it, but usually, you know, I mean, it still looks beautiful, so I don't see any sense in worrying about it. Now, whenever I do jelly and sell it, which I do sometimes on Etsy and from my home, I do decorate my jars. That's something I do. But I usually use burlap for that. Unless it's a certain time of the year, like right now. Christmas is upon us. And so that's why I'm using this pretty cloth. That is poinsettias, very Christmassy. And I love the gathered look around the jar. How the cloth, when you do your fingers, it just kind of gathers. I think that's really neat. I like it. Okay, now we're kind of to the center here. Okay. I'm going to put a dab, whoops, if I don't drop the hot glue gun, right in that center there. I was hoping not to get it everywhere, but oh well. Then I'm going to stick them on there like so, hoping that both of them will adhere to the hot glue. That's the hope anyhow. And like I said, you can peel all that off after you get done. Okay, and I also got this one. This is a little bit different. You've got some green going on in there, but it's the same as, you know, poinsettias. But you've got some green and some black, and then the red, of course, with a little bit of orange, orangish yellow centers. Okay, now make our bow. And I'm not precise with that, and I don't want, you know, you can make a fancy bow if you want to. I'm not fooling with it. Like I said, you know, I think they're beautiful, just simple. They don't have to be perfect, and it don't have to be fancy. Simple's beautiful. Although I'm not crazy over this bow. Nope. It's probably because I'm on camera. It's not wanting to work out for me. That's usually the way things will go for you. Not quite that big. I just like little simple little tiny bows. And you can make them bows not on the jar and actually just glue them onto the existing bow if you want. That's probably the best way if you want it to look really pretty. Okay, you see that bow. Now it's loose. So what I'm going to do to enforce it, to make sure it stays the way I want it to, a little glue right there. I'll take my thumb, I'm going to turn it up like so, and I'm just barely pressing it, because you know, you don't want to get burnt. And like I said, you can use gloved hands for that. Okay. I want to make sure that those are cut good. Now, say you've got a jar full of cocoa. Cocoa in your jar. And you put this lid on here, like so. Now, isn't that pretty? Now, like I said, these are going to go on cocoa jars. And I'm going to give, I'm going to show you how I make the different cocos I like to make. Which I'll actually be making us some big jars for here because everybody here loves cocoa. And so look for that video if you would like to see how I do my cocoa in the jars, and then you'll of course see these lids that I decorate to go on top. And last night I ended up doing some painting. My daughter started doing the painting, my 10-year-old. She got bored, so Mother got left to do the painting. And here's one that she started and I kind of finished. Got a hanger. You can buy this stuff and then attach your words on there, whatever you want. She's making this for her older sister. Her name is Love, and she loves family. We all do. So this is going to go to her. And then of course on the back I put, to Sissy and from her sister and brother. And then she started him. Now he's a piggy bank. And he was just the plain white like you get from the store, and you have to paint him. She did this part, the whole thing in this color. Then she fizzled on me and got bored. Well, her friend that she hasn't seen since October, and she didn't know if she's going to ever see again, we got in touch with her. She got to come over, so she was ready to spend time with her friend. So I finished him up. Now these are on video, so if you want to see how I went about doing all that, me and her, you can look those videos up on our channel. And I try to speed through some of that painting because this guy here, the owl took quite a bit of time to do the fine work, and I'm not as good at painting as I used to be. My hand's not as steady. My eyes are terrible as far as seeing the fine lines and all. But I guess that's about it for this one. I am going to be doing, like I said, well, I didn't say. I'm going to be doing something extra special that's going to go on top of these, that's going to grace the top of them. That'll be actually in another video because I'm not doing that right now. But whenever I do that, I will have another video, and I can tell you it's a type of wreath. Okay, I just wanted to show you what they look like finished. And here you go. We have got some hot glue, as you can see, but you can peel that off. And there's the big mouth jelly jar. We've got these type jelly jar. I've even got one little jelly jar, perfect for a child's cocoa. And I showed you this one. Then the one that we've done with our crocheting the chain. So there they are. If you enjoyed the video, please do click subscribe. Hit that little bell over next to the subscribe, and that will notify you every time that we upload. If you like our videos, have a great day, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas.